I'm here. We're ready to go.
Okay. Thank you for joining the Regional School District 13 Board of Education Building Committee meeting. Wednesday, June 17th, 2026, 5 p.m. This is a regular meeting. Please stand for pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I just want to say how it's a joint meeting of the board and the building committee.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, it actually says that. Before we start with public comment, we'll go around and indicate our names and affiliations. Howard Weisberg, Building Committee.
Rob Crossman, Building Committee.
John Cross, building committee.
Mark Simmons, Board of Education.
Tammy Farback, board of ed.
Nick Constantino, Board of Ed.
Director of Finance. Sydney Leggett, Superintendent.
More board of ed.
Lucy Petrella, Board of Ed.
Christine Cowan, Board of Ed.
Eric Troy, Facilities.
Laurel Purcell, OMG Industries.
Jim Twitchell, Panoni. David Grelly with ONG Industries.
Carson Collier, QAM Architecture.
Rusty Malik, QAM.
Marnie Ruska, FTV.
And online we have
Linda Darcy, Board of Ed.
Phil Dwyer, Building Committee.
excellent. Okay, we'll open it up to public comment. No members of the public in attendance. Anybody online?
If you are online and you'd like to speak, just raise your hand. Seeing none.
Okay. Public comment is closed. Item number 3, approval of agenda.
So moved.
Those things, or just we don't do it. I just think we don't do it. I don't think we need to amend.
Okay. So we have a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, agenda passes. Item 4, approval of minutes, June 3rd, 2026. Minutes were provided in everybody's packets. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of June 3rd, 2026?
So moved.
Second? Second. Okay, we have a motion on table, approval of minutes, June 3rd, 2026. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 4 minutes. Item 5, memorial renovation and expansion, construction partner update. Let's see. We want to start with QA&M, or how do we want to?
QA.
Sure. All right, go for it.
So from a general construction update, again, our team is attending kind of weekly meetings, almost a couple times a week now. We have some on-site coordination that we're doing with ONG. Now that the building's kind of pulled apart, there are some unique conditions that are being discovered as we work through with the new construction. So once we have kind of finalized solutions there, we'll make sure to review that with the building committee. Once we have a clear direction on how we're going to recommend proceeding. Other than that, that's kind of the main high level. We're just in the thick of CA, kind of going through the process at this point. If there are any immediate questions, I can field any questions people may have.
Now, should we go right into their votes?
Please.
Okay, so we have, under QA&M, we have building committee discussion, vote to approve QA&M to provide additional services for the Eversource easement, PFA water treatment services, roofing specification services, and to recommend to the Board of Education. You want to, before we make a motion, have a discussion on that?
Yeah, Preston, do you want to cover what you said?
Yeah, so, a few things have come up since our last, since our agreement. Specifically, the survey that was requested for the easement, I mean, that's a fairly straightforward request, and we've asked our consultants to provide that service, and they've given us a fee proposal of $2,750. The well design, there were some levels of contaminants that were identified in the well, and I believe it was because of the changes in regulations. And as a result, we need to provide the design for the treatment, so the well designer provided us a proposal to actually do this work for the PFAS for the well system. And finally, on the rebidding of the roof, we have a consultant for specifications. We'd already completed all the specifications. In this case, she reached out to us and said she's a small business and cannot absorb that type of an expenditure. So, that's the number that she identified to us.
What's the treatment required?
So the PFAS requirement, it was flagged within the CT Department of Health kind of review of the existing wells. So we're not adding new, it's just the existing wells. Apparently some of the readings and the findings that were received had an elevated level of PFAS. Those have been since kind of, they're being monitored by the state of Connecticut at this point. So it's a filtration system that essentially will be added into the pump house. That design work has already kind of taken place, so it's already encumbered within the overall project scope at this point. This is just the design fees kind of associated with that at this point, but it is just a filtration system that removes the particulates. I don't know the scientific name. It's in the actual report there. I won't put that at this point.
Particle size, or is a reverse osmosis, or just a filter?
I believe it's just a filter system. I don't think it's a reverse osmosis system. The levels were fairly low, but they're within the levels that triggered kind of additional filtration for the existing wells.
Did you say there was no additional cost in construction, or?
We've already designed it, so we already included it within the bid.
Okay.
At this point, this is just the design service fee to do that work.
They're catching up for those.
Okay, no, that's fine. Great. What's the value of the,
That particular item is 89.30. I'm sorry, 89.10.
okay. And then for the roofing, spec services?
It was 2,500.
Any questions before we go to motion? John, you're good with everything? Okay. All right, so do we need to indicate the amount of the additional services in the motion, Kim?
No, I think you can just say the additional services, and then I can add them into the minutes if you like.
I think the total value is 14,160.
Okay,
Totally 14,160. Yep.
okay. Okay, so can we get a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve additional fee services for the Eversource easement, for water treatment, the roof specifications for the
160.
14,160.
Okay, and recommend to the board, right?
Yeah.
We actually don't have to do that part. That was my mistake.
Okay, great. Can I get a second? Okay, so we have a motion on the table, vote to approve QAM to provide additional services for the Eversource easement, PFA water treatment, additional services and roofing specification services, in the amount of $14,160. Can we have any discussion?
This vote is only for the building committee because the Board of Ed has to do the same thing right after.
Okay,
So
This is
the
just the
board
building
members
committee.
that are not on the building committee, don't vote.
okay. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Item 1B is the same thing we just talked about.
So, Bob, we actually don't have to do that because according to our
Never mind.
committee oversight, it rests with the building committee. So I put that on in my overzealousness, but we're actually gonna move on to 1E.
Okay. So we're good on B, C, and D then?
Yeah, we did that on our Friday meeting.
Okay, that's great. Okay, great. So 1E is building committee review and potential vote to approve Pannoni's additional service request number 2, dated 6/12/2026.
And Jim is here if you have any questions.
Yeah, want to give a little bit of an update? Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, so the quick update is,
they are in the final phases of remediation. They finished the vermiculite. That was a change, condition at the site. This week, samples are back and passed. They still have to go after the floor tile mastic strips that we're seeing in the A wing around the perimeter. Some wall mastic, the 5 locations of the 1x4 patches that were identified on the walls. There's still some lead cutbacks, and we're doing some discussion on the mold. It's been identified on the roof deck. So those are the remaining items that need to be done. So we're close. There will be some other future potentially mold clearances, depending on the approach we take for cleaning up the materials on the fiberglass panels. And that's about it that's left there. I think we might have some training in the trades when they take over the PCB, assumed PCB cuts through the walls. We'll have to come in and give them some toolbox training and some general OSHA awareness that they're up to speed on what they're going to be doing when they make their cuts and cores for MUP.
What's the amount of the additional services provided?
The amount of additional services, and I went through, this is an estimate, is $33,062.50. What I did when I put the proposal in is a spreadsheet with what the base bid amount was, what the estimated new amount is. We're looking at 22 potential extra days. Which is about a month. Speaking to my monitor on site, he thinks we're going to come in under that. When I broke out the additional clearances I thought we need, I looked at each room that had the mastic as if they would have contained it as a single containment per room. Here's as though they're going to do it in 2 containments instead. So this is probably a worst case scenario. This isn't a lump sum. This is just working off those unit rates you had. I also broke out where I thought we weren't going to use things that were in the original contract and put that in as a give back. So the spreadsheet's provided in the back, but that's the estimated cost of what it's going to come through. Some additional management time for design work for mold, stuff like that.
They took samples of the mold?
They did. It's
It's
limited patches, A-wing bathroom outside the area. I think there was another location. I'm not exactly sure where that was. The good news is it's a fiberglass back panel on what appears to be maybe a chipboard with a concrete deck. So take the fiberglass off, clean and encapsulate the deck itself, and then either re-insulate or not, because that's no longer a roof, right? You have a fish roof over it now.
all right, but it's the run of the mill asparagus, whatever.
Yeah, nothing that flying any
Okay.
run for those molds.
Okay, any other discussion before we make a motion? Okay, can I have do we need to include the amount or,
Sure, I would say not to exceed
and the amount is,
33,062.50.
okay. We get a motion.
Do a motion to approve the additional environmental fees for Peroni as requested, item E, for not to exceed value of,
33,062.50.
thank you.
Okay, make a second. Okay, we have a motion on the table. Vote to approve Panoni's additional service request number 2 dated 6/12/2026 in the amount of 33,062.50. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Now, Bob, I think this is yours.
Yeah, this one we do have to do the vote.
Item F is the same thing, you have a motion. And move through the potential vote, the vote to approve Panoni's additional service request not to exceed $33,062.50. I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, this is just the board.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. To approve.
Okay. Great. Anything else, Carson? Rusty? Thank you for all of your efforts and thank you again for all of your work on this too. We appreciate everybody's diligence on this project, so.
I could add one more update, I apologize. The soil sampling is in, except for 3 samples we're waiting on. We should get those tomorrow. We're finding the same tracking, so it appears it's all leading toward native natural currently. All our research, so as an update, we should have everything back tomorrow, final reviews, hopefully with some responses. We took 7 samples? 14? 14. We took some up, towards the falls, getting closer to the mine areas to show background approaches. Gotcha.
Okay, Laura.
I'm gonna turn it over to Jay first for the truck.
Oh, fantastic. Go ahead.
Again, quick update where we are on the field. The shoring is still ongoing. Erosion control is complete. We're actually having an inspection tomorrow with Weston and Sampson. And then early next week with the town for zoning. Sediment trap work is gonna start this week. Tree cutting is complete. Temp power from the street for the school is started today. Stripping topsoil is started. And we also started salvaging the playground equipment that was out there. We are critical.
Excellent.
All right, then it's just presenting the GMP that we had discussed at the last meeting. And the only change, really, the big change, 2 changes were we took off one of the value management items, which was the climbing wall in the gymnasium. So now that is staying within the project. And we had 2 of our roofing, the first and the second low roofing bidders both withdrew their bids. So everybody had made mistakes about how to price the roof canopy. They all priced them as ads instead of deducts. So we've revised the description of the alternate. So this is going to be a one-off. When the pricing comes in for the roofing bid, they're going to have all the roofs in their base bid for the canopies, because I think I've clarified it, and I will make sure to discuss them with each of them. But we're only going to be deleting number 3, 4. We're only going to be deleting number 4 in the alternate, which is the long one that's to the right-hand side, as opposed to the one that's on the approach side. So that's a different number than what the other values are worth, because the other credit values we receive were for both canopies. So just bear in mind, that's gonna be a little gray.
For the Board of Ed, do we want to, for the members that may not have seen it, do we want to maybe put it on the screen so they can see it? So they understand what we're,
You mean like our SketchUp?
yeah, what Carson had sent.
Image?
Yeah, is that easy to pull up?
I can pull it up if people want to see it.
He had the with it and without it, right?
We had one with both, and then Carson had done one with just
the one.
the one.
And I'm sorry, did you say the rock wall is staying or
Yes.
not?
It's
staying?
in.
It was added back in and
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay.
It's in.
I'll be,
So that's why the number changed.
I'll volunteer to be the first one to fill up.
Not the first one to come down.
I'm actually just gonna stay on there and you're gonna have to figure it out.
So the way we're dealing with the roofing bid, since I can't recommend a roofing bid in this GMP, like we're making the recommendations for all the rest of the trade contractors. We switched the number that I was carrying for that. I was carrying the second number value. So all I did is I shifted that. We call it an allowance. It's away from our trade contract summary because we're not awarding it. And then I'll have to return to you after the bids come in. I scope to not do another recommendation. So it's gonna be just like what we were doing before, which is we do our scope review and we recommend the lowest qualified bidder. So I'll return with the roofing bid afterwards.
Okay, I have it now to share. Eric, do you mind just hitting that,
HDMI.
just that, yeah, the black screen?
I like it.
And for the benefit of the board, the project has 2 canopies at the entrance. What we determined was one was absolutely necessary because it helped mask, changes in construction materials. and also provided cover from the parking lot to the school. And also, you know, from an aesthetic perspective was really needed. The other one also was functional as well, but we deemed it slightly less functional and, you know,
Should do it.
available to remove if budget required it. So that's the option with canopy removed, along that one side.
The right hand side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have the one before it. With both of them.
That one,
Mm,
or you want the before and after?
the before and
So
after.
Those are two different emails, so you're gonna have to give me a sec.
But it serves value. I mean, there's a bench wall for seating. It's covered. That's where buses are gonna
This is the
be.
one without the canopy.
So-
The first one. Probably the easiest way for me to get to that quickly. See through the website, so I don't have to search through email.
But as you can see, it's not, you know, it's not extremely detrimental, but yeah, there's definitely value to having the other canopy. So.
I just think this is probably the easiest way to find it. I'll just go to the website here. I mean, Here it is.
There it is. Yep.
There we go.
So it's the one on the right that
Yes.
is now the alternate for the roofing only. You have the alternate 5 that's in here is all the rest of the trades to remove both. So it'll get dicey if you decide to just take the one out on the right.
Yeah, so that's the only change. But yeah, we all agreed that that canopy, on the left needed to remain for a number of reasons, so. What else?
Unless the people want me to walk through any of the terms and conditions that we wrote in, because we kind of skipped over them last time, so I hope people have time to review it, and if you got any questions, we can discuss them. Hopefully, why something is in there.
Any?
Yeah, no, we'll just go quickly.
Yeah.
Walk through them.
Oh, you want me to walk through all the qualifications?
No, just anything that's the terms and conditions that are unusual.
Unusual?
Yeah.
What is unusual? Let's.
The ones that you sneak in that.
Yeah, I can. Let's see, What is unusual?
You have to hear it, the next one first.
Well, I mean, something that's a lot of detail is how we're handling the utilities, so what's in, what's out. I hope I was very, very clear with that, with what we do have in and what we don't have in. But that's very, that's a lot of words and sentences and stuff, so that is unusual because that's a lot of detail there. We have our general conditions and requirements, so we basically just divvied it all up by 20 months, and so it's gonna be a lump sum every month.
Yeah.
So that's something else. Anything else in here that's a little odd? Allowances, we tried to define on which of the allowances, if it goes over or under, where is it going to and from? So some of them are to and from the owner's contingency, and then others would be from SAM contingency, so we identified that.
Yep.
We've included the value management items, so that hopefully that's crystal clear later on with what's in, what's out. Because sometimes that is, people don't remember what something was based on. What else is in here that's a little unusual? We don't have any security services.
Right.
We don't have a temporary fire alarm for any part of the building under construction. That's not something I would typically put in. We do not have any work whatsoever of any sort of existing masonry restoration and cleaning. Just because it's not shown on the drawings right now. We have a qualification in here about our CM contingency. Our contract allows for a maximum of 3%, but we're just clarifying that we've carried 2.4% CM contingency in our CM in our GMP. But we would like that 0.55% reserved should it be necessary that we need it. So that's number 39.
Okay.
We also said on 40, here's a sneak. Due to the aggressive construction schedule, should additional staff be determined to be necessary to meet the project schedule, this additional staffing will be funded from the CM continues, just if we start going 610s or whatever we're doing. Here's another sneak. Owner shall provide 2 separate suitably sized securable rooms upon completion within the school building for use as a CM field office and contractor meeting location, so we can get out of our own way. Okay.
Yep.
You know, back to that.
Birthday school.
And then 42 and 43 were just these insurance weirdo things about the builder's risk, and apparently your insurance agency approved those. That's not normal. And then the other thing that the difference that from in 2 weeks ago, and this was a Greg comment, was they didn't want us, he wanted me to put something in that we weren't gonna do any work while school's in session. So we just clarified that whatever's left, whether it's punch list, commissioning, we're not gonna do it while school's in session. We'll work around the school's off hours or school vacation days.
There was a change to the move-in date, right? That was originally there.
August 12th, it's on there.
There was a date that was mid-September.
September or something.
Yeah.
That's
Was clear.
after me. I'm turning the building over August 12th. You guys can do whatever you want after that.
Showing F.
And I sure hope you push the luck for Labor Day.
Past birthday school.
Which I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna give them areas a little earlier than August 12th. We're not gonna hold on to the whole building until August 12th. We're gonna work with everyone to try to release areas at a time. Fire marshal's gotta be on board with it as well, to let you start moving in while we're still working in the building. So that'll be a
Work with fire.
collaborative effort.
Won't be, staff in there, but we'll at least get the FF&E and get the room set up.
So it's not like a hard line in the sand. There will be blending going on.
And
Does that require a CO or a TCO to be able to just even move furniture in?
No, only if you bring the staff in.
Okay, so you can move furniture in prior to a TCO?
Yeah, it's part of construction, but
Okay.
in order to get staff in, that's always the sticking point.
Right.
Because they're gonna want a TCO to have staff members in the building.
And chances are that's gonna happen while we're still finishing up, you know.
So that could be that would be the TCO, but FF&E can happen
Yeah, it's part of construction.
as part of construction. Okay, great.
We can get a TCO while we're still, touch up painting,
Yeah.
like that. It's life safety is the biggest thing with the fire marshal.
Great.
I'm just wondering if this is the right time during the GMP conversation, if we should talk about the permit fees and if we move something from the list into the project.
We may wanna.
I was gonna wait for us to be.
Okay. But are we voting on the GMP?
Yeah, because I had a question, speaking of unusual, being collaborative, I was curious about the permit fees and if they were the full permit fees, I assume are still reflected in the,
That is still in here,
yeah.
yeah.
So have we had any, I think it's a better time to talk about it now before we vote on it, the permit fees, like if there was, I think that the lawyers were meeting, or we were trying to set up a meeting last week, left off.
So we did have a meeting on Monday, and to see if we can find a solution forward. I can't say that anything has been completely, resolved because there's still, a difference in opinion. We've disagreed with this decision for quite a while, for almost 8-9 months, probably longer for Kim. But we have, after speaking with the attorneys, it is actually illegal for Middlefield to keep additional fees that they can't prove actually go to the project. The way that the law reads is that it has to be reasonable fees, and they actually have to say that these are the fees that are incurred in you doing the permit and the inspections and everything like that. So, it's going to be pretty low because we did the third-party review.
Yeah.
Because we paid for that. And then where we left it was, Middlefield was still, thinking that they needed to have a town meeting. We disagreed with that because it's not an appropriation.
Yeah.
It's the return of an overcharge. And there was an agreement that there was an overcharge. So there's some progress there. We were supposed to hear from them today and we didn't hear. I do think that given our timeline with the fact that we're voting on this tonight and that we have to make all final changes by July 9th, I think that's the date.
What we're saying
For
is that we can
construction,
hold
yeah.
the pricing available for acceptance
Mhm,
to July 9th. Contractually, our contractors have to hold it that long.
mhm.
Doesn't mean that it's gonna cost that particular alternate may go up or not. It just means, we're locking that number in for the night.
Mhm.
And then it's a negotiation after that. So.
Yeah. Well, I think we might need to go for injunctive relief and have a judge say that the fees
Yeah.
just have to come back because it's really concerning on several angles now that, I know that the building committee for a while and I have felt that it was wrong, but there's issues that are getting even more complicated in the sense that they can only charge reasonable fees. That's what is in the statute. There's the issue of DAS and the Office of School Construction, that this is state reimbursed money. 68% of this is supposed to go to a school project that won't be going to a school project. There's a concern there that DAS could potentially get involved. And then there's also the fact that Durham taxpayers are paying $132,500 towards something that they voted on for a school that's not going to go to the school. Between the two towns. So it's getting, and there are legal issues there in terms of, making a profit off of another town. Those are things that just aren't supposed to happen.
And you could, like, cause I've, gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole with researching permit fees. Learned a lot, but speaking of like the reasonableness of it, it's my understanding that we could request like a listing of how those hours were spent on those permit fees.
Mhm.
So can we do that? Have we done that?
Yes, I sent a FOIA request to
Oh, okay.
Middlefield last
Mhm.
week. You're supposed to respond to a FOIA request that you've received it and you're getting the information within 4 days. And that was yesterday and I haven't received any response at all.
And yeah, so.
As far as items in the GMP, I mean, there were a number of items that were not necessarily tied into other parts of the project. Outdoor classroom, playscape materials, the additional parking that could be, if this money is returned, it's returned to owner's contingency. There's nothing that states that we can't pull it out of owner's contingency to do these other projects, correct? Okay, and still get full reimbursement.
Mhm.
Okay. So there are, I mean, the nice thing is we did set aside a number of discrete projects that could be, easily, that could easily take up, a lot of this money. I know parking is always a concern on every project and, the outdoor classroom can be done completely independently.
Well, the outdoor classroom, we've talked a little bit about that. We're concerned because it's inside that courtyard. So that's something that we'd want to know about sooner than later.
Right. But it can be done, it can be done,
Mhm.
and it's not relying on something else to be done. It just happens to be, a construction site inside a school.
I do think that this would be a good time to clear up like some of the misconceptions of the narrative that was going around. And actually, Laurel, one of you can probably give me the numbers, but one of the concerns that came up was that all of this is happening because HVAC came in 4 times our estimated bid. And we said that that was not true. So what was the difference between what we thought HVAC would be and what our low bid
I
was?
think it was 4 million,
Mhm.
not 4 times.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you're talking about the permit fees. I brought this up way before the job was ever even bid.
Yeah. Mhm.
So this isn't a reaction to bidding. This is a standard in construction.
Yeah.
This is a standard. I guarantee you, if you look back in the notes, I brought this up at the beginning of in the design phase. That's how long we've been talking.
And my records shows Kim and I starting to meet about this last August.
Yeah, so that's.
Not a reaction to bidding. I just wanted that to be clear because
No.
that is a narrative that's going around and
Well,
one of the,
Yeah, that's not true. And the reality of the mechanical system is the building committee wanted to get a better system in the district because of indoor air. For all these issues, we always cheap out on the HVAC system. So the design that we did first, go after was a step up.
Mhm.
In the, what we call a typical school district, but it also falls in line with high performance. So we tried to cover all those bases. I think, the reason the pricing was up, I don't think we got as many mechanical contractors bidding the work for whatever reason. Sometimes that happens. I would say that that's probably the largest contributing factor,
Mhm.
okay? But we had enough bids to move forward, so
Yeah.
unfortunately, we didn't get a good price, but we are getting an outstanding product.
Yeah.
And, in the long run, it's gonna be great for the district.
Yeah, and the argument that I was making that I think is important is that, just to talk about bidding, is that if absolutely everything came in under bid and we had additional funds, we got everything, we got all the alts, everything like that. What we are supposed to do is we're supposed to return that to the taxpayers.
Yes.
Right? We're supposed
Yes.
to return that and apportion that to each community the way that it was apportioned in.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that there can't be blame on higher bids. The idea is that the
No.
money has to go to the project, and
No,
that
and,
if the
and,
opposite had happened.
and you don't do construction that way anyway. We value engineered, a lot of these items out before we even bid it. Right? Because we're working towards a budget. So, that's not how we would have approached it anyway. So we have millions of dollars worth of nice to have that we're not even putting in the project. If we had more money, we would put stuff back in the project.
Right.
I think.
Or like if we were lucky, it should go back to the people who paid for the project,
Yeah,
right?
but yeah,
So this narrative that this has to do with, there are narratives going around that it's because bids came in high or that the things weren't
No.
budgeted well or anything, that's gotta be out the window.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, I mean, everyone, I think reasonable permit fees
Mhm.
would be acceptable. But
Absolutely.
charging over $600,000 when that could be going towards other things or going back to taxpayers and having that be illegal,
Mhm.
that's the issue at hand. So to pass blame to something else, that's a coward's way out. So it is illegal. That's the bottom line. And we should then file an injunction.
Well, yeah, and it's a step further. The majority of projects, they waive the fees entirely, not.
Yeah.
Not just reasonable cost, entirely, because you
Right,
want
it's-
that
it says here, but there's.
subsidized money going to your school benefits, where it needs to go.
Exactly. Like, so
Got it?
it's not the right thing to do. And I don't know, it's just, as someone who works in human services, like, I just feel like, and the reason I got into it was like for kids and families, like, it obviously pushes a button.
I would imagine too that when we went to, well, permit fees are reimbursable for regional school districts. I would imagine DAS would look at it and say, no way, that's excessive, right?
Yeah,
So now will also be unreimbursable too.
yeah. So,
I'm positive that there will be a good resolution.
We hope so.
in favor. And the question is obviously just, the question is really just understanding where we want that money, because obviously it's not going to be included in the GMP. So we can't use it to upgrade certain things that have to be decided. So the question is, what activities, if any, do we want to add?
So the way Marty walked us through this yesterday too. So right now, we would take out of owner's contingency for these things that we want to add back in. So if we want to add the outdoor classroom back in, we take it out of owner's contingency. Then when the money comes from Middlefield, we put it back into owner's contingency. So while we don't have a line for outdoor classroom, that contingency will go up to construction costs and it'll just reduce our contingency. When we get the money back, it'll go into contingency. Am I
Right,
right?
but we want to make sure that we are getting it
Yeah.
before we commit.
Left off the meeting, my
Exactly, yeah,
understanding
it has to be.
was
Project.
they agreed that there would be a refund. How we would get it was still to be determined, and what that amount was would still be to be determined. So that's, I would say, half the battle's won.
Yeah.
And now we have to figure out how much the amount will be.
Did the trades contractors pay? They must have already, electrical. So
Electrical grid.
are you, so on your GMP then, how are we gonna manage? You're gonna manage that through a change order?
Everything would be a change order
That's
tonight.
so.
Everything.
The permit fees were not gonna change order. We talked it through. The rest of the MEP trades are gonna go ahead and pay and pull for,
Yeah.
pull their permits.
Yeah.
And when the money comes back from Middlefield, it just goes in owner contingency, because you're already paying
Yep.
for those.
That's what I'm
by
at.
ONG.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, right.
so we don't need to write them any change order or anything like that.
No, we're gonna lock in on the GMP.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna touch that.
Right.
Just the way it is. It's
Right,
gonna
and
go
if you
back.
want to influx the project from
Yeah.
owner's contingency to increase the construction cost.
Yep.
Then you can just, it would be a change order. Give us a
Yeah, it'll be
change order
shown
to
on-
increase the GMP
It's
by
gonna be,
what is it?
right,
20?
any, you're gonna include your markups, their markups will be done on that additional work.
Right, it'll be a change order.
Awesome.
If all goes well, we can add some nice, good components back in.
Yes, we hope. Yeah, I mean, I think this committee would, I think, I don't speak for everybody, but my goal would be to spend every dollar to get back in amenities we want.
Yeah, we agree.
And a lot of them, I mean, there's a lot of components that would directly affect kids, but there's also like some things where we can really improve the quality, where we had to change some of the quality. But again, we need to know.
So if there's something that's taken away because of the situation, in the future, if it decides to be, we need to do this now for the quality of the education, it probably will cost more in the long run.
Mhm.
Not only because in the future, but also,
Well, and
just to have
after
the-
the project, yes, because.
Yeah,
that's
like you
we
have to dig
we
up
won't-
things and
We won't
say-
get reimbursement either.
Yeah, right.
You know why you did them geniusly as adults and add deducts, right? So it's in the contract. So if we decide to pull something in, the price is there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time, how much lead
So
time.
certain
we need,
date,
yeah.
then it's after a certain
Correct,
date,
okay.
the price is no longer locked in. It'll be close to it, but it's not that we have a contractual tool for contractors to just be able to pull it.
Right.
And
We
that
also
date
have
is
lead-
July 9th.
We have lead time issues
But
on
there's
some.
also things that once it gets rolling, you can't, like
Right.
the electrical things,
Right.
can't change.
But late item issues like countertops and things like that, that may be a little later.
Well, and that's where the items that we accepted
Mhm.
as value management items, there's dates in there. That's,
Those are our drop dead dates.
yeah, because you're affecting the schedule. at that
Yeah,
point. It's like,
And that's really why
One way or
we
the
can't
other.
wait for Middlefield all that much
Yeah,
longer.
No.
June 17th.
You have
Right.
decisions to
We
make.
gotta
yeah.
look at the day, because I didn't know what day it was.
All right, so, any other discussion on the, I thought that was a really good discussion. That was good.
Phil has his hand up.
Oh, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, because we jumped around a little bit, the sensitivity with the schedule. Are we comfortable with this document getting approved with a owner move-in on Exhibit H listed as September 14th? I just wasn't sure if there's a comment there, but from what I read on the comments, it doesn't address the move-in date specifically.
That's what I was asking.
change,
Yeah.
so it's now August 4th.
August 12th, it's on the very beginning. It's the AIA form. It's the contractual document, this AIA. If you look on the page, top of page 3, substantial completion, we're saying is by August 12th. So that's like our last day. We just have owners moving stuff on there, but that's not contractual with us. Our contractual date with the owner is August 12th. We turn the building over and you can start moving it.
And that's a TCO?
It's substantial completion, so.
So yes, you'll need a TCO to get the substantial completion.
We do need it.
Well,
It's
it's
either one.
one of the main things we try to strive for essentially at that point. A substantial completion date is meant to kind of indicate the milestone to when the building can be used by the owner as a beneficial occupancy at that point. It's not a final occupancy, anything like that, but.
Yeah. It's a recognized term.
Okay, great.
That you can, sometimes you get it TCO, sometimes you get a full CO. Yeah.
But our goal is at least a TCO.
Yes, and then as far as the September date, that gives the staff and or whoever to get everything sorted, straightened out and ready for first day of school.
It's reflected on our schedule, but we're not in control of that, right? So we're only controlled till August 12th.
Yeah.
But we're just having it on there just so people.
Yeah, punch list and a few other things, all that stuff.
Sounds good. Awesome.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, so we have, we're gonna need a motion to approve the guaranteed maximum price. Do we need to include the GMP price?
You should.
Yeah,
You wanna,
One is building committee, one is building that.
it's the,
It's 66,117,003,
66.9.
117.
can you say that again?
$66,117,093.
Okay. So I will need a motion. The guaranteed maximum price.
We'll make a motion to approve O&G Industries as a CM, the guaranteed maximum price of 66,000,000. 117,093.
Second. Okay, we have a motion on the table to approve ONG's guaranteed maximum price of $66,117,093 for Regional School District 13 School State Project 213-0051 RNV/EA as completed as presented by ONG's Industries, the CM for the project. Any discussion? We've discussed it so what? But any more discussion? Okay, now the big vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes.
Item B, the Board of Education. We need a motion to approve the guaranteed maximum price of $66,117,093 for the Regional School District 13 School State Project number 213-0051 RNV/EA as computed and presented by ONG Industries and the construction manager for this project. I have
So moved.
a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Big milestone.
Great. I'll turn it over to the STV. Marty, you want
I brought handouts tonight. So my agenda tonight was to illustrate to everyone how the GMP fits into the overall project budget. And I was around, how, and there's extra costs, you guys get it back to it. I'm just gonna sit up here just. All right, so there's a couple documents here. The cover page, the first two pages are the overall project budget. And the two pages are divided by construction costs and by soft or owner costs, which are on page 2. So the construction cost, if you go to the bottom of the page, you'll see a 66,394,276 number. And you may ask, why doesn't that match the GMP? And it's because there are pre-construction costs that are also construction that are on this page. So you've got your GMP plus all of your other ONG pre-construction costs in there.
Those have already been funded, right?
The pre-construction, yes, those have already been funded. I don't think they've actually billed
Yeah,
for all
paid.
yet, so.
Yeah, we did 2 invoices. I always
Yeah, I think
do a last one.
Yeah, yep. So if you can, go down I don't know why my letters did not print out, but if you can see in the left-hand column, you've got items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. There are actually letters under the numbers that must have gotten squeezed out by the margins. But if you head about 3/4 down the page to total trade costs, above that, you'll see a line item for approved value management. And that's the 689,821 of all the value management items that the committee has accepted to date. So that's where those costs are reflected. Additionally, if we now turn to owner or soft costs, you can see where everything from QAM, architect, engineer fees to commissioning to moving and storage costs, everything related to soft costs is on this page, including item number 35, which is your owner contingency. So item 31, there have been a soft cost contingency of 200,000 and an owner contingency of 1.3 million. There's no need now that we're underway to have those items separated. So I combined them for the 1.5 full owner's contingency. So part of my budgeting role is to forecast costs for the project. So if you turn to the next page, you'll see a spreadsheet that I created to forecast expenses against the owner contingency. Well, these are things that I know are coming down the road. We've got Eversource. I would say the first 6 to 8 items are related to the portables. Whether it's items that were needed during construction of the portables before they were occupied, or ongoing costs like the rental of the portables. And in the first column, the 963,935, those are all of the costs that, as of today, I'm projecting are going to hit the owner's contingency. So those are the costs that we are aware of at this point in time.
And of all those costs that you projected of that equate to 963,000, how much of that value is due to like change orders due to construction, which is usually what the owner's contingency is for?
Yes. So if you go down to the bottom of the list, you'll see there's a line item called additional costs, RFIs 1 through 57. So as of today, there are RFIs 1 through 57, some of which are going to have additional costs associated with them. So not every RFI 1 through 57 is going to impact cost. I have a separate log. If you flip to the last page of those RFIs that I feel are going to affect cost. And I've put a very, very rough order of magnitude number next to each item. These numbers are so rough that they're literally, I would say 10 of these RFIs got answered today, and maybe 10 of these RFIs are new today from O&G. So I'm trying to capture some kind of order of magnitude to bring to you tonight, so you can see where your CM contingency stands. All right, so on the potential PCO log, I've got all the RFIs to date that I believe are going to have a cost associated with them, as well as items A and B towards the bottom of the list. They don't have RFIs associated with them, but I know their future costs. One is the contaminated soils remediation. Now, you remember we had talked a meeting or so ago that if that material had to be trucked off site, it could be 125,000 range. Well, things, as James indicated, are leaning towards that contamination being naturally occurring, and that means we can leave that material on site. So we may end up digging out that material and putting it under future parking lots. So what I'm forecasting for that 40,000 is the site contractor's cost to handle it, to dig it up and bring it around the site. And again, it's a very rough number. B, exterior masonry restoration repair. So we don't have a number for the restoration that'll be needed on the outside of the building. So, you know, the building's showing its age, it's gonna need some repointing, it's gonna need to be washed. And usually the way we identify that scope is the architect will do a walkthrough of the exterior of the building after all the demolition is done and mark up a drawing on everywhere the masonry needs to be patched, whether it's a broken brick or repointing or cleaning, whatever it is. And I'm allocating 30,000 for that. It may be more, it may be less. So you can see I'm forecasting as of today, $250,000 associated with the items we are aware of today. So if we go back to see how all of this is affecting our owner contingency, you want to go to page 3. And you can see second line from below is the 250,000 for the RFIs. And then below that, the last item is budget shortfall from the project budget. So what that is the current balance of our project as shown on page 2 with O&G's GMP numbers plugged in. All right, so you guys are probably aware when we started value management, when the bids first came in and we didn't have any value management, we were like $1 million over budget. And O&G got us all these value management items. You guys voted on them, made decisions. At the end of the day, the GMP that you guys approved tonight, we still have a shortfall of $55,000. So I've carried that over to page 3 as a hit to the owner contingency. All right, so all this information, all these projections come to the front page, or rather the second page, down to line item 35 for your owner contingency. So your owner contingency before we started construction was at 1.5 million, which is 2% the cost of construction. And I'm projecting as of today, we're aware of $963,000 that's going to hit it. So when I go to bed at night, I think you have a contingency of $500,000. All right, so that's kind of my reality. Now, if those permit fees come back.
When the permit.
Permit fees come back, that money will supplement your owner contingency. And then in my mind, you'll have $1 million.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So whenever that happens, at which days, I'll continue to keep the RFI PCO log updated, right? Some of those RFIs that I've projected as a cost will get changed to real costs as Jay changes that estimate into a real change order. Right? So it's evolving all the time. And at which point you know, those permit fees come back into your contingency, we'll do another review of where we stand so that you can make an informed decision on what you may want to add back into the project. Okay?
Right, and that's just another way of saying that when we first looked at this, and I want to make sure everybody's clear, we were not $4 million over budget. That's incorrect. We were $4 million over design.
I said $1 million, I believe.
I'm just saying, people think we're never over budget because
Right.
it was an
Right.
estimate.
Right.
So, we are now today But now, today, we have a budget. Right, so I want to make sure everybody, because I've heard this before, that's simply not true. We never had a budget. This was an estimate. And in the original estimate, when we went through it, I made the point that we need to get these fees should be waived so that they are in the contingency, because we always knew back then that the contingencies were going to be very tight on this project. Right. Now, the good news is, just like we had said, that this type of construction, school building construction, especially with existing stuff, you typically take a lot of hit up front. And once you get all your demo and all your environmental issues taken care of, you should be able to manage it on a much easier basis. So where we are today is not a surprise. We need to keep working it, and we need to get those fees back from the town so that we have appropriate amount in the owner's contingency, so we can do the job 100% right.
So going forward, the budget won't show a surplus or a shortfall. So going forward, that 1.5 million owner contingency, I'm just gonna adjust that right in that column. All right, so that 1.5, as you spend it, will fall, and your project budget, like John says, will always be 76,130,000, right? It's just a matter of how each line item gets adjusted. If the unthinkable were to happen and we ran out of owner's contingency, we have some fallback options, right? So once O&G gets to a point in the project where they feel a comfort level, where they don't need so much of the CM contingency, you can start talking to them about giving some back and putting it into owner's contingency. Right, so right now, they need to hold the whole amount because there's still a lot of unknowns. Still a lot of unknowns.
We have built into a number of the trade contractors allowances.
Allowances
I
is
want to make
another.
sure that people understand that isn't always done. I personally don't like to do it because they seem to always get spent, but it is a smart thing to do, when you have a tight schedule. Because it keeps the project running. And that's one reason I supported it in the beginning, because we do have a narrow schedule. So,
That will be reflected in our monthly
right,
report.
so we do have some cushion in those areas as well.
Like John, some of the points you're making, I just have like a thought to me, like, I know we did like kind of like the FAQs for the budget of just like all those misconceptions. Wonder if either maybe in like the next newsletter or maybe put something on the website of kind of the points that you're making. Like every time I'm out there, I feel like people say, oh, it's over budget. I'm like, it's not, you can't be over budget. Like, it doesn't work that way. And I wonder if we had something, if that would at all be helpful.
Yeah.
Because that was very well received, and I feel like that might be helpful here as people go to the website and start looking at stuff, and now that people are seeing action,
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Would we also maybe be able to talk about the increase in reimbursement? Because the town shares were significantly more with the bond at the time with the reimbursement rate than what they are now with the improved reimbursement rate. So the towns are actually going to be spending less. Even with the budget remaining same, they're gonna be spending less due to the reimbursement rate.
That number was 11 million, if I'm remembering correctly.
At least 10.
So that's less of a burden on both Middlefield and Durham.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Great.
All right.
Thank you. This is great work. Any other questions for Marnie while we have her?
When is the roof hit?
June 29th.
29.
So once the roof bid comes in, we'll have all of our numbers to plug into the state's counting system to put in the first pay request from the state. So that's what we've been waiting for. And my strategy is going to be to submit all of the costs associated with the portables, even if it's not construction, right? Even if it's busing or whatever it is, and submit it as eligible. Because the language, the legislation that was approved said that costs associated with the swing space were reimbursable. It didn't say specifically construction costs. So we're gonna submit them as reimbursable and let the state tell us if they disagree.
Great. Okay, approval of invoices, Kim?
Yeah, quite a few, sorry, bear with me. Following the motion to approve the following invoices, the first is Zayo, which is CEN, which is our internet provider. We had to do some fiber splicing. If you have more of a question, Jay and Carson can explain, but that was invoice 2154701 in the amount of $3,570. STV invoice 2416, 10,576.02. That's for owner's rep services, owner, architect, contractor meetings, scope meetings, building community, and other meetings. Panoni invoice 1329304, $12,920, asbestos monitoring and remediation oversight. Weston and Sampson invoice 2606891, $845.79. Phase A review of documents. That's the stormwater deep monitoring service. DACO invoice 33851, $20,424. Those are swing space buses for May. We have two here that are from swing space that we had not paid. Past. It's Robert H. Lord, invoice 36200, $10,424.23, and invoice 36207, $11,401.60. Those are for locker room partitions, the strong swing space. O&G on invoice number 7, $632,398.83, construction manager services. CubeSmart invoice 170721, $272, month of June, storage. Eversource 5189-758-0163, $576.80. That's electrical for the portables, 5 and 6 for the month of May. And QA&M invoice 18011, $30,842.89. And that was bidding services and construction administrative services.
Give the both building and board.
That's just building thing.
Okay, motion to approve invoices as Kim described.
Okay, any second?
I'll say.
Okay, motion on the table to approve the invoices as listed by Kim. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Invoices pass. Okay, any other discussion on the Memorial School expansion? Okay, item number 6, tennis court grant discussion. I'll start it, Eric, and then maybe we can just, we have, yes, thank you guys. Thanks, guys. We have been approached to, look at possible grant opportunities for the tennis courts. USTA does have a number of programs for both resurfacing and reconstruction of tennis courts. I don't think we're at the point where we know exactly what we want to do yet. But I would like to, if we get these grants, we can take this money, stack it, leverage it with other funds and possibly, either extend the life of our existing courts or possibly get some money to build new ones. Obviously there's a match. So I think our better option right now is looking at, shorter term options using what we have and understanding what's out there. I'd like to discuss possibly putting out an RFP or actually, it's more of an it's more of an RFQ to understand what options are available in terms of full removal of the paint, evaluation of the existing surface, existing asphalt, repair of the surface, the asphalt, and a new surface as opposed to patching. So there are a number of different techniques out there with different costs, different life expectancies. Because there are lessons provided at the tennis court as part of some USTA programs, we should sit favorably with some of the grant opportunities. But like I said, we can't really get a grant proposal out until we know what options are available.
What kind of grants are they?
They're USDA construction grants.
How much?
I think the one for resurfacing is in the neighborhood of what, 7,000 per court. And the reconstruction is like 50. So
It's usually 50 to, I think the most I've seen is 75.
yeah, but they
So
do
it's not, I
require.
mean, it helps,
Nothing
but
Right.
it's not gonna get you over.
Right, but the resurfacing may provide us some other opportunities
Yeah.
as well. And that's, I think, where we want to go, because I think long-term, we have to look at, replacing the courts. But that could be a number of years away, and the courts, were not used this year, for tennis. And I think we just need to look at what options may be available.
Well, they were used for practice.
Yeah.
Just not matches. We had talked about over the summer having a whole meeting dedicated to the courts. So is this something that you wanted to have in preparation for that meeting?
I think we should start working on developing an RFQ and discuss the RFQ at the meeting. Like I said, it's hard to say what's out there. I know what's out there. There's 5 or 6 different techniques, and, like I said, we have to remove the surface and then see if the asphalt is salvageable, and then put a new surface on top. Is that an option that makes sense? Is there benefit? And if so, is that something that we could win a grant for? I think that's probably our best path right now. And if it could delay, if it's a successful surface, it could delay us having to replace it, for a couple of years.
Do we need funds, any saved funds to both have an RFQ?
Not for an RFQ.
So unless somebody has like a sample one or can point me in a direction for that, I would probably need input from an architect or somebody.
Well,
Yeah,
our RFQ, we're really just, picking our partner.
Yeah, we want to pick a partner, understand what techniques they have, understand understand the approximate cost, so that we can take that information and apply for a grant opportunity. It's similar to what we.
So there's 2 different stages. So there's one where you're saying we would pick a partner, right? And then we would actually have to pay them to do a study with all the different menu options and what.
I don't think we would be paying, they would just tell us what options really are available. It's similar to,
But I don't see how.
they're not bidding on anything. There's no bid. We want
I
to
know,
put
but
out a
you said,
request for
you know,
qualification,
strip it.
see who has.
Evaluate it, patch it, that stuff that won't involve cost on their part. I would think they're not gonna do that for free. Aside from saying,
They're gonna tell us what type, I'm not looking for somebody to just go in and do patching. What we're looking at is we want to understand what types of techniques are actually out there. Hindig has some, Dalton has some. There's a number of companies that offer different services. We can't put out a proposal until we know what type of options there are. And we're essentially going to be getting, it's a request for information.
Right.
You don't pay for a request for information. They're telling us what their services are. They have approximate costs. Once we have that, we can then put out a bid. We can get a grant proposal.
Why don't we put out an
RFI.
RFI for, and go out to different types of manufacturers and
Yeah.
say.
Well, we did, the reason this was brought up is because there are some new technologies out there. We know what types of systems there are traditionally, but I would say the last 3 to 5 years, there's systems out there much newer that are offering fairly substantial warranties. And I think I haven't I don't know if I don't recall anybody else on the committee having experience doing those type of systems, but there's professionals out there that design tennis courts. They probably know a little more than we do, so we want to get a recommendation from them of what direction we want to look at. So, and certainly we're picking somebody who's an expert.
Yeah, we're not asking them to design anything at this point. We're asking for what types of systems are there in place that we.
So
can
you're
use.
really gonna get a bunch of
Brochures with approximate unit costs.
commercial vendors.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what we expect. I'm not looking for a contractor to come in. I'm looking,
No, but you
I'm-
might get
listen,
a professional.
yeah, I'm looking for suppliers and I'm looking for their installers to,
Yeah.
We work with them.
There's nothing in the budget to pay for this
No.
year.
no, absolutely. But there are grant opportunities for next year.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't know what to
We don't have a
request
budget on
without
it. You
knowing.
guys Get out there next
Right,
tomorrow.
but I think the UST does require some sort of,
Yeah, there's gonna need some cost share and, yeah,
they won't take my word for it.
no.
I don't know why not.
I guess what I wanna understand is like, for these different companies or experts or something, they have to have some incentive, right? So like.
The incentive is the project.
Some use
Yeah.
their product.
It's no different than every company that bid on our work for the school. None of them got paid to do the work. There's a cost associated with trying to secure work. This is
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
this is the same thing. And this is minimal. They're not preparing anything. They're essentially saying, you have this court in this condition. This is the type of technique that we have. You know, this is honestly, this is marketing for them.
So we want to say something like, with the options of,
We want to,
5-year extension of
yeah,
life,
exactly.
10-year extension of life.
Exactly. And I think that's important. What's gonna give us the 5-year, what's gonna give, what is your life cycle cost? Cause I don't know, I mean, are we gonna, are the tennis courts annually gonna have to be, just repaired out of operating funds?
Well, we did just finish the strategic plan and in the capital list, we put the tennis courts in in 2030 or 2031. When the way that we phrased it was based on like an $800,000 estimate that we save $200,000 of capital each year during those years until we're able to do it in that year, unless the timeline is pushed up by coordinating them with the roof bonds.
But there's gonna still have to be operating expenses to keep the tennis courts in the state of good repair.
Right.
Up until it happens. So, could we, the question is, could we leverage that money into some of this as well?
Can you give us the list of things you think should be put in an RFI?
Oh, yeah, we'll craft something. But like I said, without getting a feel from what the industry can do. It's like what we did with the road. We knew that there was other techniques. We needed the industry to come with us and tell us what techniques they could offer us. And we ended up saving,
A lot of money.
$800,000 on the road that way. So we're really just looking at the exact same technique.
I suppose we'll pick eliminated dirt from, or just pick up the tennis courts that were just there instead of them all.
On top of it.
Yeah, calling this guy.
Are you talking clay courts? You're doing clay courts.
Well,
Without clay.
clay and other products.
So, all right, that's 6, 7 draft survey in the field house, Eric.
Oh, that was, so we had Todd and Charlie Dallas, who was on our building committee until he just graduated. So congratulations to Charlie. But they worked and put together this draft survey for the building committee to review and to give some feedback on. And then we can probably put it out in the fall, I guess. But that was a request that came up a few months ago in terms of just finding out what the community wants in terms of next steps for the field house.
Oh, great.
So this was Todd and Charlie.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
While we're on the field house, is there anything necessary or long-term maintenance that needs to happen on it?
No, we did a couple doors last year. Keep doing that and see what everybody wants inside.
Mhm.
I think that's what that survey is about.
It's holding up. It survived all the
It
the
did.
weather
It
events.
did. Yeah, those guys did a knockout job. It's anchored in very well, so it's not going anywhere.
Great.
I think at some point we should, like as a committee, look at the auditorium, since it came up a few times. And I just
Actually, we're.
wondered-
It's item number 9.
Tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
It's on the ADA.
oh, it's with AD. Okay, never mind. Okay.
It's like you manifested it, just.
I know, I really didn't know.
Great idea.
either.
Um,
Okay, thanks, guys.
So with that, I guess, any members of the public?
There's nobody online anymore.
Okay, so no public comment. So item number 9, when you say anticipated executive session,
We're gonna do an executive session and then someone will make the motion, they'll have to invite Sydney, Eric and I.
Okay. and this is executive session for both
Both.
Yeah.
Board of Ed and Building Committee.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you want me to make a motion? So I'll make a motion to go into executive session for both the building committee members, the Board of Ed, and inviting Dr. Leggett, Kim Newberg, and Eric. I don't know
I
how
was
to say
gonna
our
say
last name.
why, first to review bid submittals.
To review the bid submittals for RFQ/P 2026-001 architectural services for ADA concept design at CRHS and Strong.
Can I have a second?
Second.
On favor?
Aye.
All right, we are going into executive session.
We got it.
Do the thing.
And I need to pause recording. Oh, live again.
Okay, we are out of executive session, and we are going to go to, item 10. Building committee vote, they recommend the award of the contract, the successful bidder for RFP 2026-01 architectural services for ADA concept design at CRS and Strong. So we'll need a motion.
To QA now.
Somebody, I was making a motion.
John.
So John, you can make the motion.
Yeah. Make a motion to recommend the award of the contract of RFQ/P 2026-001 architectural services for ADA concept and design for CRHS and Strong to QA&M
44.
for 45.
Base bid of
Base bid of
45.
45.
45,000 and
And
68%.
68%. I'll make sure. it's-
Okay, we have a second.
I have a second.
Okay, we have a motion on the table, to, recommend the award of the contract to, QA&M for RFQ, P 2026-01 architectural services for ADA concept design at CRS and Strong. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
And then, 11,
Same thing for Board of Ed.
we have a motion, yeah.
I will make a motion for RFQ/P 2026-001 architectural services for ADA concept at CRHS and Strong to be awarded to QA&M for a base bid of 45,000 and 6 to 8% for phase 2.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We have a motion to adjourn.
so move.
It's my job.